Hello and welcome back to Pushing Technology to the Limit. Today we are going to do a test on antennas. I just recently got this small directional 150 mile UHF VHF FM antenna. I also got another one that's outside but you can't see it, and I have no box to show you, but it's a Channel Master omnidirectional antenna. And we're actually going to go out and I'll show you the antennas. But also today I got this this new Channel Master preamplifier. Works pretty good compared to the one I just showed you with the box, the smaller one. Now this one has a warning on it that if you are too close to your TV towers that you will either lose all reception or you will have distortion. So I'll show you my setup now. Here is the Channel Master omnidirectional antenna. Right there is the Channel Master preamp, and as I'm telling you that this is all just testing right now to make sure all this stuff works before we get it up on the roof. Now here's that small one, and that is, I don't know what brand that is. It didn't even have it advertised on the internet. Here is this Winegard antenna that I am going to be replacing. It is the biggest piece of junk that you ever did buy. I bought this from some store in my next city to us, Highway Hi-Fi, and they charge an arm and a leg to install it, and I've had two of these so far and they've only lasted me 2 years. So out of the 4 years that I've been running Winegard, I've had the antennas die, actually not really die, but just break apart like this one is doing right now, and the amplifiers die, and they're just junk. I also have this Channel Master rotor. That thing has outlasted the antenna and both of the amplifiers that I've ever bought. And right up here, it's kind of hard to see, but that's the Winegard amplifier or preamp, and that's a plastic piece of junk. Before I go back in the house, I just wanted to show you exactly that this little unit is hooked up to our test system. You see the cable right under there is connected to it. Right there. And it's pointing off towards the nearest city. Actually, this antenna is well, like I said earlier, is 150 plus miles, and we are actually 30 miles from the city that I'm pointing to. And actually, we have two of them in between us. So I'm going to get started now with testing this one first, and I'll come out and hook up the other one. Actually, today I'm actually using a older Magnavox converter box. Let's see here. Just so you can see that it's actually running. The lights are lit. And here's that other amplifier for that smaller antenna. This actually has a built-in rotor. I forgot to mention about that. And now we'll get to the actual viewing the TV signals. And I will tell you the reason why I'm using this converter box is because I didn't want to mess up the TV channels that are actually on our TV set. And this actually has a signal meter, so we can see the different signals strengths with the little cheaper antenna. That's like I said, that's a directional. So one thing I forgot to let you folks know is that today is actually the best day to do it because it's a poor rainy day, and that's usually the day that we get bad TV signals. And as you can see, NBC is not coming in. It was coming in. It was only coming in at 16 peak power, and so I'm going to go through these channels. And actually, I'm surprised that this unit gets less reception pointed at the same direction as the big antenna, but the bigger antenna gets more channels. So as you see here, this is CW6. We don't get it on this small unit. And 3.3 used to be our weather channel. Nothing. Now this one's CBS, and we don't get it at all. I mean, just period. Ever since they went to HD, there's nothing. So as you see, I'm going through the channels and there's nothing there. And this is our 24.1 is our PBS station, and that's actually the weakest station, whether it's a good day or it's a bad day. And this antenna actually gets no 24 at being on the ground, but the bigger one does. So there's 4 PBS stations. Now see, here's my 43, and that's not too bad. It's almost 40% strength. Now I'm going to tell you one thing I noticed is that, especially on this converter box that I'm testing out here, anything below 15 is going to be pixelized, and at 14 you actually get no signal whatsoever. So you get no picture, no audio, it's just gone. Now this one's pretty good. It's 74% between 74 and 72. It's not bad on a rainy day like this. And with that old Winegard antenna that we have, we didn't hardly even get 74 on a bad day. On a good day, we were probably getting about 50. And it just stunk. There's that one channel that kisses up for money all the time from Little Grandma's. That's about 58%, not bad. But could be better. This is Fox. Right now it gets nothing. It's just, it might be just the station or the weather or what have you. And I'm supposing that's the weather, because before I started shooting this video, it was coming in but weak. And it doesn't even get the country station either from that same area. So, and again, 3 was coming in before I started shooting. It was just pretty bad. So now I'm going to go outside and connect the channel master antenna and we'll see what those strengths are. Just to show you now, I've got the white cable installed on this channel master preamp, and then there's the cable going to the preamp. As you can see, this other antenna is disconnected and off the bush. Just to show you that that small directional antenna has been disconnected. Here's my channel master preamp. This is actually the receiving end here. I like this because you can just plug the power supply right into the receptacle, and if you don't like the fat power supply, you can always buy a little pigtail plug that has a plug on two ends to extend it, and then you don't lose a receptacle. So as you can see now, we are on NBC, which we did not get with that small antenna. And look at the signal power on that thing. It's 52% to 55. That's pretty good for this rainy day. We weren't even able to get a good NBC channel in the rain. It is about 25% on a good day. I mean, that's when the sun's out and there's no clouds. But with the clouds and it's raining outside, kind of overcast, and it's 55 to 52%, and that's perfect. Just had to turn my box so I could actually get the remote control to work here. So this is CW6, and it's that's better than the first one. It's 58, and that's pretty good when we were hardly able to get that on, even with that well, that other antenna for one, that brand new one that I got, and the old one. I keep forgetting the name of that, but I've said it in the beginning of the video here, and WineGuard, that's it. We wouldn't even get 58 to 52 on this channel, even on a good day, maybe about 25 to 15. Even that's even the one on the roof. I mean, that's even when it was up there, it was rotten. So now this is our used to be Weather Channel. Now it's a little bit of a movie channel, miscellaneous selling channel. So that's about 58, which is pretty much roughly where this one station, the NBC, is running both three of these, and they're basically roughly around the same strength. And so like I said, CBS we do not get whether it's on the roof or on the ground. It's just a very weak channel. Now here's one, it's a little bit weaker, it's farther out from us, but not bad. 34 30 to 30. Same way for the so basically the NBC channel, they have three of those, and they're basically roughly about the same. I mean, it'll be better once it's up on the roof. And this is the one that's always been the weakest for us, which is PBS. And I'm amazed how how good it comes in even on this bad day. It's almost 40% signal strength, and on a day like this we'd probably be getting about 15 to 20, and that was pretty bad. It'd be pixelizing and everything, and this station is not pixelizing with this sensitive amplifier. So this this better preamp is better than the actual standard one. It costs more, but it's powerful for those weak areas like us. And I also do recommend not to use this with your computer. I've seen some YouTube videos that they were testing it with a computer. For one, I do know that the computer signal is always going to be weaker than the TV set itself, whether it's a converter box or it's your actual HD TV, because the computer has to process it, and it's going for a little USB 2.0 cable. Even as USB 3.0, it's still not fast enough as your TV, so you cannot accurately measure your TV signal on your laptop. That's a no-no. So this channel here is saying this is all PBS. And there's 4 of these, and basically they're going to be about the same on the ground. Yep, 34. Not bad. Almost 40. Now this is not too bad, but the other antenna, it's surprisingly that little directional antenna had 74 instead of 60. I mean, well, this 58 is close to 60. Not bad, but the other one had stronger power for some reason. And this is kind of going back and forth, but I can't really judge for save since this is a rainy day. But I just wanted to show you, even on a bad day, I mean, this is not the bad day, this is not winter when it's snowing and blowing, but even on the ground, that is not bad. There's that channel that likes to kiss up for money again, and it's not bad. I wouldn't definitely watch this. I don't really probably watch any of those other ones except if there's a special on during Christmas, or you know, just a show seasonally or what have you. But this channel drives me crazy, and let's see here. So Fox. $43 is good for today. 43 to 58, not bad. It takes a few minutes for this thing to catch up with the signal, so that's why it's taking me a little bit longer. This one, the country music channel from Fox, wouldn't watch it, but it's 80%, 82. Yeah, just going back up and down a little bit because of the weather, but not bad. Now this is a big improvement to the Winegard. I mean, I can't explain how much better it is, but I didn't do a test when I installed it because I didn't think I had to. But since I've had antenna problems, I thought I'd show you the two, and I'm going to connect them both together and combine them on one pole. So I'm going to have one point at one city and one point in that another city, and then I'll get the 12. There's 12, 46 stations that we don't get, but we will get them eventually once we point the antennas that way. I'm also going to tell you another little recommendation. Alright, this is the Channel Master box. this came with cable. It's a nice cable, and it was an expensive amplifier. So it comes with the waterproof plastic, and it looks like it's pretty good cable. And again, this is the cheaper antenna. It came with cable, and I wouldn't use this stuff. Rule number one, don't ever hardly use, and what I mean by hardly is because especially if it's a cheaper unit, they're going to put cheap cable in this thing. And I can tell this is cheap just by the way it is, because it has this little rubber thing around it, and it gets in the way of the conductor. And if it was expensive, it would not. With this cable, I can't get it off, but you just pull it down, and then you bolt your connector on, and then you slide it back up, and you're all set. So this is expensive cable. So here's another thing I bought is a 1.5 cable to run splitters and different things like that. And I recommend buying them, especially in a 3-pack. Now if you don't want to hold on to a 3-pack, I'm going to use one, and then I'm actually going to use some of the other ones for some splitters that I have out throughout the house and where the antenna is distributed at. So this is excellent cable. I do recommend it. I'm not going to tell you the brand. There's several brands out there. You might find the one that you like better. I'm going to give it a shot. Well, I need to tell you one thing about this antenna. It does not fit on my standard mast pole. Just bought it for the Channel Master antenna. Doesn't fit. Doesn't fit this pole right here. This is 1 1/8 inch, and it is too big. So you're going to need to get some smaller. I don't know what size pole it needs. It doesn't tell me in the directions. It's lousy directions. Even how to put this thing together, it stunk. But I mean, it works for the price. But don't expect. I don't know how long it will last. So don't expect it to last forever, or maybe 5 or 10 years. But the other one will last a lot better because it's totally metal. So I just wanted to show you that with this pole, is that it doesn't fit. And I'll show you. There's the mast. This is actually a built-in rotor. It won't even slide down on this thing. It just comes right off it. I'm just trying to get it right over that hole, and it just keeps coming off because it's way too big. So they don't tell you what kind of pole size this thing is. Just giving you a warning if you buy this thing. But anyhow, it works pretty good for what I need it, and but this is going to go for the Channel Master omnidirectional antenna. And if there's any antenna that you should buy, I think it would be the Channel Master. I can't give you what the model number of it is, but it's 4 feet high. Just type in omnidirectional, and I got them on Amazon, and it should do the trick for you. Oh, and when I did my test, I would not install this in your attic. I tested this in the living room, tested in this one right here with all the windows, no reception. Tested up my bedroom, ran a 100-foot cable down, nothing. Hooked up the preamp, zip. The only place it works out is outside, so don't even bother installing it in your attic. I mean, unless you have a house that's not that insulated. I mean, this one is insulated tight, so it didn't even get AM reception in this place. Okay, just to give you some solid proof that we are surrounded by trees, I'm going to show you the grounds around us. So I'm right at the house here, as I look down the front of the road here, there's trees around here. This is the direction that I have the antenna pointed in. See trees. The house is behind there. So there's all these trees around us. So if I take a long shot from here, you can see that between the house, there's the house right there on your left, and the right, it's just trees. And here is the entering of the neighbor's field right here. And here's the first hedgerow. This is the where I'm heading into is the second hedgerow. You just see that there's trees all the way around, even on this road. About the only spot that we have open is right here. But you can see that there's just nothing but trees around the entire. All our neighbors have trees. And there's trees right up here around us that border our property. You can see trees all over here. There's a road on the other side of. If you go down to our village and come up the other side, that's 222. As you can see, there's just nothing in our town but just hills and valleys and trees. And this might be going a little bit fast for you on the video here. I'm sorry, you'll have to either just pause it and slow it down. But it is really hard to go any slower than I am. It's just because I'm so zoomed in. So that's my road. So as I come out, if I zoom right up, there's the aerial right in our house. So right now we're back at the aerial, and if I go to the front of the house on the left hand side there, there's bushes and trees and here's the tree by our house. As you can see, there's just nothing but trees around the entire property until you get out by the end of the road. So that's just a little proof in the pudding that that this antenna works better just even on the ground with all the trees around us than the old Winegard. I hope this helps you determine what antenna to buy. Now, I can't say which one's going to be the best just because it's the location. My location's a weaker area. You might have a stronger area than I do, but I'm just kind of cut into a back of a hillside here, so we don't get very good reception compared to one up on top of the hill. Now my neighbor on top of the hill, that lady gets all sorts of channels from different cities around us, but down here we're just stuck with just the two. But So you could be somewheres where there's a lot of trees. We have lots of trees, but that doesn't really seem to bother the reception too much because we have a lot of openings. But and then with between the distance of your tower, that's another thing. Like if there's a rocky terrain, getting to your next tower, that might cause it. Or what I've found out with our even with our FM reception, that we'll get. Now I haven't used FM in a long time, but I did try it a little bit back, and it's the same as it was back in the 90s. There was all this CB radio stuff coming on over the radio station, which was lousy. And I use the internet radio station now instead of going through the FM because the clarity goes away and the internet's much better. You get HD. I like it. So I hope this helps you to kind of determine what you need to do for your next antenna project. And I'm not saying that this is the video to watch, but I just say watch out for those other people that don't show you all the details. For me, I like to see everything being installed, how it's hooked up. But if you're going to test it with your computer, you can't just do that. Because I've tried it, and between the TV set and the computer, it's a big difference. And a lot of times your computer signal is going to be weaker, and if you're trying to use it for your recorder, I wouldn't bother. I've had so many different computer glitches and things like that using this one piece of software. It's not the software's fault, it's just different things happen, and then if I have to restore the computer, all my recordings go away. I've switched to standalone DVRs, which are just like the old cable boxes that you have, and they record it to a hard drive, and that's it. So I'll see you next time on Pushing Technology to the Limit.